You're not happy about Framer pricing. Now, this is weeks old. But why no one mentions the performance issues? Even on powerful computers, Framer drops frames because designers overload the pages with multiple shadows, filters, and layered effects that are heavy for the browser to render. Framer guys basically don't know how it affects performance. Also, copy-paste components. No one is trying to figure out how they work or how efficient they are. As a result, the interface looks beautiful but runs poorly. Framer seems so heavy compared to most websites on Webflow. This is Temio1. Obviously having a bit of a rant there. What he's saying is totally true. I mean, why is no one talking about this? Temo, if you watch this, go and look at my personal channel. The start of my whole channel, my Webflow and Code channel, was all about exactly what you're talking about here. This idea that you've got a bunch of designers who aren't aware about the website kind of limitations, and they are trigger happy with dragging and dropping and adding things and adding effects and whatever. And lo and behold, these sites get slow and sluggish. So it's not that no one is talking about it. It's just, this is not, I mean, first and foremost, it wasn't part of, we were talking about Framer's pricing. We weren't just going to suddenly talk about performance in the middle of a pricing discussion. Outside of that, this is a conversation, obviously, that's kind of tried and tested. Because of the accessibility, oh my God, I'm going to go on a rant now, aren't I? Because of the accessibility of things like Webflow, things like Framer, you're going to get a lot of people that don't care about web development and don't care about performance and things like that. They're just excited to get a website up and running. And, you know, I'm guilty of that when I first started coding, copying and pasting JavaScript functions I didn't know what did, and, you know, different orders and, you know, big bloated JavaScript file mess. You know, we don't know what we don't know at the end of the day. So on the one hand, there's a bit of sympathy and understanding that you're seeing work of people of all ages think that so much is happening for them because of these no code tools, that we're inevitably going to see very, very unperformant websites. We will, like, I'm running on a M1 Max MacBook Pro. You know, let us know what you are using down in the comments. But we're all using very, very powerful computers. Heck, our phone is a very, very powerful computer. It's not safe to assume that everyone has got such powerful machines. Some people just have an old Android phone that can barely run the apps they've got installed on there. Some people are on computers that are like webbooks or whatever they call those little thin things, the ones the Apple Air kind of like killed or whatever. We are building websites on machines that are very, very powerful, and because we're pro, we think we need to get the best machine, and we do. You know, otherwise we're wasting time building these websites that are super slow. But we need to test our websites and look at our websites on slow machines. The easiest way to do that is you can throttle your I can't really show you on here without whatever. You can throttle your network traffic. That's one way of imitating slow network traffic. I sort of feel like I want to have a shitty little PC, a shitty little notebook that is maybe 10 years old, just to run websites on. Because then you'll see, if you work that into your process, then you'll see how your performance is. The other thing is obviously Lighthouse. I used to shit on Lighthouse a little bit because, well, I will shit on Lighthouse actually, because what it can't tell you is, you know, we've got accessibility, right? You've got an accessibility score. What it can't tell you is that you've written a piece of JavaScript that opens a menu that is the only form of navigation on that page. It doesn't know what your intent is when you're writing JavaScript and you're having all of these things available to you. So it will give you a good accessibility score. But actually, if you know what you're looking for, and you know, if you look at the code, you'll be like, well, this is terrible accessibility because you're not letting the user know that there's a menu pop up here and this and that. So it can only respond to the information that you give it. However, performance, it absolutely can tell you how performant your website is, because it's probably running on, either its own sandbox, or it's doing some sort of CPU throttling or GPU throttling before it gets into Chromium browser, whatever you're using. So watching out for that performance score, I think, is a really important thing. You're working blind, but you can get an indication of how performant your website is. That way, you build your website, run it through Lighthouse, and actually get, it might be running fine on your machine, but if you've got a Lighthouse score of like 20 or 50 or whatever it is, listen to that and try and get that score up. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that one. Related is another comment that we received on our anti-gravity. Oh, it's on my TikTok, actually. God, this style of website actually irritates me. Just slow and so little information. Now, this is, I'm hoping it's on mute. This is the anti-gravity website, which, as designers and as people who are into the finer things in life, like animations and things like that, at the end of the day, you need to understand what the website you're building, here it is fit for. Who is this website for? Is it a website where people want loads of information? Is it an informational website? Or arguably in this case, it's a promotional website in which you can, you can be a bit more liberal with fancy designs and animations and things like that. I actually would argue, this chap down here saying so little information, just slow and so little information, I would argue that there is actually enough information here. Even in this first paragraph, Google's anti-gravity is our agentic development platform, evolving the IDE into the agentic first era. That tells me everything I need to know about, well, not everything I need to know, but at a glance, that's what this tool is. So I would argue there's so little information, but what I think he's done, James Truth here, he's kind of flipped the table and thrown his toys out the pram a little bit, which we all do. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but he's just seen it and think he's neglecting any bit of information that he receives from the point of just seeing all of these, what he deems unnecessary animations. And that's what I mean. You need to understand what the purpose of your website is. If it's not a promotional website, if you're not trying to gain attention, then you need to, like, if it's a productive or productivity focused website, then probably you're going to want to tone down the animations. If it is a promotional website, then yeah, not go nuts, but just have some fun with it. Now, these aren't hard and fast rules. What is a hard and fast rule is understanding your audience, understanding the end user of the website before deciding whether animations and whatever is appropriate. That's where I think the annoyance comes from. From a personal taste perspective, some people just they hate all of the animations. What can you do about that? I don't know. Some people love the animations. You can't really do anything about taste, but what you can do is provide to the target market. And in fact, Google might not want James Truth downloading Google Anti-Gravity. Doesn't want him. That you're by being very specific, and we've spoken about this in the past, by being very specific, you're also batting away those who you don't want. Like, there's no harm, no foul in that. You've got to pick a lane and just run with it. And this is kind of my overall point here, is that you're not going to please everyone. You're not meant to please everyone. Don't try and please everyone, but understand who you are trying to please and build and design for them. This is part of a larger conversation on my show, Cmd+AI, which we stream live every single week. We discuss the news and all things related to AI in the world of design and web. Catch us next week and join in the banter.